You're live. All right. Okay. Here we are. So we have, I'm so excited about these Halloween cards. Wait till you see them. Okay. So, first of all, and we're going to show you how to make them. We have a somewhat easy one. If you watched my earlier video, this card that we made with accented blooms. And the, but right here, we have our Share What You Love and accented blooms designer series paper, and the butterfly comes through the middle, and it's the, of course, Stampin' Up! Glitter paper. So what I did is, and I said, I'm going to make a Halloween one of these. Well, I did. So that is right here. Okay, so this is the Halloween version. So cute. Okay, so we've got our bats. We've got the cauldron, the Toil and Trouble Designer Series paper, and I have that number, which I will share with you. And this all goes live September 5th. This catalog goes live, so you can purchase this starting at midnight on September 5th. Okay, so this is the Designer Series paper. We've got the stitched framelit dies, and then I cut out the cauldron from the Designer Series paper, and then Bubble Toil and Trouble is one of the stamps in the stamp set of Cauldron Bubble, which I'll show you anyway. And you open it up. Now, I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but I thought I would show you the different versions. So I have the two bats, of course, come through. You can mail this card. And then I have a moon here, and I'm going to show you where I got that from with the bat. But I'm going to disassemble this because I want to show you how to make this, okay? So we will do that. And then the other thing I'm going to show you is I have made these fold accordion cards. So you open it up, and inside you have these pockets. You could put little things in there. I could put my business card in there, which remember, www.stampinwithdiane.stampinup.net if you want to purchase any of these items. You could put in little cards, gift cards, but these are just little pockets, and I'm going to show you how to do this. This is so much fun. This is pretty much more of the cover with a lot of hinges, but the one we're going to do is this one. This is, and I'm going to show you, this is again, the Designer Series paper, Cauldron Bubble, and then we have our bat, that's the Designer Series paper. We have our moon, the Bubble Toil and Trouble, the little witch gal. I mean, it's so fun, guys, so much fun. And I'm going to try to I noticed the other one, the lighting was actually okay. Anyway, okay, let's keep moving on because I want you to see now. On the inside, you see this. It just says Happy Halloween. But we are adding these cute little pockets. So we're going to have one, whoops, here. I'm just going to put them here so you can see it. We're going to have one that is here. I'm going to take that out. And we're going to have our other one that is right here. The Toil and Trouble cardstock is so cute. I almost hate to cut it, but then I'm like, oh, I'll order more. And so when we open our card, we're actually going to have these two fold-out pockets that we can put things in. And I've got a little band here, so if I want to put a card in the front that says Happy Halloween or some cash, and then I also have my pocket to put one in. So this to me is just the cutest little card. And this again is the Designer Series paper. It's falling apart because I'm going to show you how to make this. I have the measurements and everything this time. So those, and then again, of course, we have our Still Night Owl here with all of his cool detail. And that, again, this is last year's Design Series paper for Halloween. So that was just something that I was showing. Again, www.stampinwithdiane.stampinup.net if you would like to order any of these items. You're better off without that. Okay, so let's get to making these cards. Okay, so the first one, we'll start with this one because this one's so much fun. Okay, my card stock is regular. And again, I use my Stampin' Up! Grid paper to measure everything. Okay, my card stock is a total of 7 7/8 wide and yeah, 7 7/8 inch wide by how much tall? 5.5 inches tall. Okay, 7 7/8 by 5.5 inches tall. Oh, hang on, go back. That's not it. It's actually the cardstock base is 8.5 inches wide. Okay, it's going to be 8.5 when you first measure it because I'm going to show you how to make this hinge. And then the height is 5.5 inches. Okay, thank goodness for notes. We're going to score this. I'm going to take out my trimmer. And how about that? I left my scoring tool somewhere. Oh, my scoring tool is right on here. I'm going to score this in half, right? So it is 8.5. I've got my 8.5 inch paper, 8.5 inches wide. Okay. I'm going to score it in half, which is going to be at 4.25. Okay. Now remember, with our Stampin' Up! Trimmer, we have the actual trimmer, but I'm using the scoring tool, which is the lighter color one. I'm going to trim it at 4.5. Okay. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to go 1/4 inch to each side. So I'm actually putting another score line at 4 1/16 and 4 7/16. I know, don't you hate those numbers? So 4 1/16 and 4 7/16. So 7/16 is here. And again, I'm using the scoring tool part, not the dark one because you'll cut it. And then 4 1/16. Okay, I'm going to burnish that. Burnish means just really like pushing it, making sure that crease is well done. The way I'm going to burnish this though is, okay, I want you to see this. I've got my 1, 2, 3 lines. 4 1/16, 4.5, 4 7/16. My 4.5 score line is coming straight. I'm going to push it in. Okay, pushing that one in. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to burnish it. And then I'm going to take my other two and I'm burnishing this away. Oh, I do have my snips. And this one, I burnish, fold it over. Just follow me, bear with me, guys. This is so fun. Okay. And I have my tear and tape. Yes, I do. Okay, so now what I have this one in the middle. It is sticking up in the middle. Okay. And then I'm going to also burnish it so I really get that nice hump. So I've got a hump here. Okay, and that's sticking up. So what I need to do is take my tear and tape. I'm putting it right in this seam. Okay, that's the first place I'm going to put it. So again, tear and tape is an awesome product made by Stampin' Up! And I have the actual number is she says she has the actual number, but it's probably 138995. 138995 for the tear and tape. So I'm going to put it on the inside. This is what's cool about this tape. I don't need scissors, although I do have my Stampin' Up! Snips. I just take it, I go along, tear. Okay, now I want to burnish this too. And I swear this did have the Stampin' Up! Logo. I've just used this so much that it's worn off. You can see where it was. All I do here is I'm going to tear. Now is the tear part. Oh, well, there's two tear parts when you tear it for your sizing. I'm going to tear this piece off. Okay, set it aside. I'm going to tear the other one off. Set it aside. Now remember, I want that hump in the middle. So I'm just going to push it together. I'm going to burnish again. Ooh, look at that. It doesn't look like it's all that straight, but that could be the way I cut it. But here's your chance to make that right. Now my card is like this. I've got an edge here, which is awesome because that's where I used my designer series paper of the cats because they're so cute. And I used that for my edge. It was between using that and using the ghosts, but I decided to go with the cats on this one. Okay. You can see them there. So you have this edge here. that you're going to use a designer series paper strip on there, okay? But we'll get to that. Okay, so now we have our hump. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to get my measurements for my pockets. I have 2 pockets here, okay? And the pocket needs to slip over the that actual hump, right? So I've got to make that slip over that. I've miter cutted this in the middle. See how it's a V? That's basically a diagonal cut is a fancy way of saying a miter cut is a fancy way of saying miter cut. So my pocket pages are 3 1/8 inch wide. Okay, let's check my math here. Ooh, they're actually a little bit more, it looks like. 3 1/8 inch wide, and the height is 2.5 inches for one piece, and the other piece is 3.5 inches. And let me show you. Okay, here's another one that is finished, so you can see that. Let me show you what I mean by it is bigger. I have 2 pieces. I have the one piece that is 3 1/8 inch wide. That looks really like a quarter, and the height is 2.5 inches. Okay, pretend it says 2.5. 2.5 inches. My next piece is 3.5 inches tall, and it's still the same width, okay? 2.5. The reason for this is you're going to make a pocket. You're going to score this because we have an extra inch, right? We've got a piece that's 2.5 and we've got a piece that's 3.5. So if I score this at 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, I'm going to have my foldovers that I'm then going to glue with my handy dandy Tombow glue that we buy at from Stampin' Up. And remember, if you're a distributor, you're buying from yourself. How cool is that? I'm gluing these pieces together, and that makes my pocket. But before I glue them together, let me show you something. Again, remember that term miter cut? Fancy word for just a diagonal cut, but that allows things to slip in and out of here a lot more efficiently. So let's do that. Let's get our 2.5 by 3 1/8 piece. Okay, 2.5 by 3 1/8, and then our 3.5 by 3 1/8 piece. I'm going to score this, and again, my scoring tool is, and this is the Stampin' Up paper trimmer. I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch, and I don't know if you can see this, but this is what I really like about this tool is I can measure here 1/4, 1/2, 1 inch. So actually, I'm going to score it. I'm going to score it at 1/4 inch, and I don't know why that works, but it may. But okay, you've got 3.5 inch sheet of paper by a 2. You've got a 3.5 inch of paper by 3 1/8, and you've got a 2 1/2 inch paper by 3 1/8. You're going to score at the 1/2 inch line on each of these, okay? So let's score at 1/2 inch because that gives us the full size of 3.5 inches. I'm going to have to turn on the light for a moment just to see my scoring here. Okay. And you just score, okay? And then turn it over, line it up again, and I score again. Now, I need to take my paper snips, my Stampin' Up paper snips, which is product number 103579, okay? And I need to miter cut at the angle here. That's what's great about paper. Look, I mean, companies don't have to offer this, but I think because so many of us do work with children, I mean, they always have a safety issue. That's what I love about Stampin' Up. There's always something extra that they always think of that next step. So, let me find one of these that isn't miter cut yet. They all are. Okay. Anyway, we will pretend it wasn't miter cut. And I'm coming through, and I'm just going to snip off that corner. And I would snip off that corner so that I have that nice angle. Now, I'm going to put this aside because I don't want to glue on my paper trimmer. And also, here's a little tip: is always have a little container for these little papers. Like I have. Do you remember the old oatmeal container? That's what I have, and I just put all my little strips in there. Although I will get points, and I'm going to have a cute little Stampin' Up! Container to put all of my discards in. Now I'm going to line this up. Take my Tombow glue, and this is why I don't leave my paper trimmer out. I'm using my Stampin' Up! Grid paper as my mat. That way, if something gets on there, that's fine. Oops, take off the glue stuff. Okay, put it in there. Okay, so this is how you make your pocket page, and this is what's going to attach to the inside of the, you know what I did not bring over here, and I'm going to have to show you all this, but it's the notch maker. It's the Stampin' Up! Makes a wonderful, it's an envelope and box maker, and I'm going to show you how to make this notch. I will get that in a moment. Maybe I could get my husband to give it to me. Oh, he's out there watching golf. Because I need to notch that too, so I want to show you how to do that. Here we go. Put this away. Now I've got my first pocket. I'm going to duplicate that, right? 3 1/8 inch wide by 3 1/2 inch tall. And then I have my page that's 2 1/2 inches tall by 3 1/8 inch wide. I'm going to score them, so I fold it over. I'm going to miter cut, and then I'm going to attach it to that sheet that is 2 1/2 by 3 1/8. Now I've got my pocket, and we'll have to wait to make the notch. Pocket 1, pocket 2. Now I want to make sure. Shoot, does that fit? If I'm basically 2 1/2 inches wide is what I need. So I come over to my one that is not cut, which is just like yours, and you make a choice here. Do you want to have space? Do you want it to start right at the top? I kind of like to start mine right at the top. So now this is the inside of my card where the hump is up. Okay, that's the inside. Don't worry about this because we're going to cover it with some more fun designer series paper. Okay, so your binding there, it's okay. So what I need to do is turn it. Now this is really inside out, but I'm going to miter cut here. And then you can measure if you'd like, but if I know this is the end, I eyeball it, and then I miter cut on that side. Now what I do, because I do like them to stack, is once I know, okay, that's where my first one is, I just go ahead and make that a V, because I know they're going to line up right next to each other. Okay, this is the other nice thing about the Stampin' Up! Snips. It's probably why they give you the cover, because they're pretty darn strong. They're pretty sharp. And then check it out. I mean, every detail is thought of, because this is where that screw is for the, then there's a little hole for it in your holder. So, I mean, it's just like everything is, they leave it so you can be creative and not think about all the other stuff. Okay. So I just want to make sure that will work. Oh, great. Perfect. Now, I like to go ahead and design my pocket pages before I put them in, because like on this one, I did a belly band, and this is from designer series paper, and I'll show you. I cut a strip, and then we wrapped it around. So this one, okay, so for this one, the cute little frog with the hat, I actually took the Stampin' Up! Die cut machine cut, the Big Shot, and then I cut my circle from my, no, actually one of the circles, I mean this, okay, this is the stitch framelits, which gives you circles. But I took my Stampin' Up! Punch. Okay, this is 1 3/4 inch punch. This is an old style Stampin' Up! Punch. They have new ones now, but I have, but it still works. That's the point. Once you buy something from Stampin' Up!, it's going to work for a very long time. So let me show you where I got this middle circle. Well, I needed this for my cover. You see, I have a piece of paper with a hole in it. So I took my Whisper White cardstock, which is made by Stampin' Up! Whisper White, okay? And I measured it to 5 1/4 inch by 3 1/2 inches. Okay, so I mean, pretend this is just your plain piece of paper. I took my punch and I punched, I punched out the middle. That'll give you your white circle, okay? Um, I've done a couple of these, so I have a lot of white circles because we're going to use another that you could use that same white circle to make your moon as well. Then what I did is I used these colors. I used the our very new Grapefruit Grove, which is you can buy in the catalogs now. And then I used our very new Pineapple Punch, and I used Schwarz, which is also basic black. Schwarz is black in German. I spent a year in Germany, so I like to pretend I can actually speak some of it now. And this is our cover. This is what makes up our cover. Now, how you might ask, well, how did you get that little look right there? Well, all you do, you take your white paper, and since I don't have, I'm going to show you that. I'm going to do it on the back of this, even though my moon. Okay, pretend my moon is still in here, guys. We'll put a moon in here. All you do is you take these colors and you are going to sponge them onto the paper. I start with yellow because I knew that I wanted yellow. And actually, I should correct myself because I actually did the I did this blending before I cut the circle. Okay. But to blend, you just take your dots, which of course Stampin' Up! Makes. Now I label mine so I don't get the color. So this is Calypso Coral. So while I'm using Calypso Coral, I will use this Stampin' Up! Dotter. But for this one, I'm using Grapefruit Grove. So I make sure I'm using that color because believe me, it's real easy to get them mixed up. And I'm going to also take out the one I use for Pineapple Punch and the one I use for Schwarz or black. Okay. So you can do it any way you want. Since I know my moon is going to go in this corner, so pretend that's not that. I'm going to do a lot of my yellow up here. Make sure you can see. Let me get these out of the way. This was just fun. I was just so excited. I just love these Halloween items that Stampin' Up! Has. And tomorrow morning or at midnight, you all can start purchasing those, which is so fun. And you can start making your Stampin' Up! Cards. Now, I did something interesting here, too. I actually, because I did go to beauty school as well and work in that, even though I also am a journalist and author, but I loved beauty school and I love that beauty industry. So I have a lot of different things like those nail brushes that you clean your nails with. So I took my aqua painter and after I did all these colors, I took the aqua painter with just water and I sprayed it. I just spritzed onto the paper and I took my nail brush and just went like this. And that's why I've got that kind of streaky look in here. Yeah, I think you can see that even with the glare. So that was kind of fun. So, I mean, you have things around the house that, you probably use in your industry and things like that. So, as a matter of fact, it's interesting because we were just talking, my husband loves golf and he's watching the golf tournament. And the one gentleman is an engineer. And so, I don't know if any of you ever golf, but all the clubs are different sizes, right? The putter is very long, the putter is very short. Well, he decided, why should we have all these different sizes? Let's just have one size golf club and leave the heads differently. And so that's what he uses. So I mean, you all have things that you have done either if you're at home raising children, you've had to do a lot of creative thinking, and believe me, that is the toughest job. And so use, your imagination, your kids' imagination. I love crafting with my grandchildren. They come up with the most neat ideas, and I will show you one of them in an upcoming video, how we made a gem card. So, okay, you can see how it's getting that blended look, right? So I just do that. And then, of course, on the bottom, because we want to make it look like it's the cauldron of smoke, right? That's where I come in with the black. And I have to be very careful with black because I'm a little heavy handed, I noticed. And so you just go ahead and that's how you make this look. And like I said, there's the aqua painter, which I didn't bring over here. That's the other thing that I spritzed with this, but you don't have to. This first one I did not spritz, so you can see more of the dotted look. But these other ones I did spritz, and you can spritz it. There's so many fun things you can do, guys. I just trying to show you that look. Okay, so now what you would do here is you would actually punch out your moon, okay? Now, I didn't want to put too much black at the top because that is the moon. That's like the yellow and orange spot. So now I'm taking my 1 3/4 inch punch, okay, because I've got that all done. And I punch that out, which I'm going to set aside, and I'm going to use that for my moon. That I'm going to put dimensionals on that. So I do try to put things away because you'll see people start to tend to lose things. Okay, when you're not using your ink, go ahead and close them up. Okay, so at this point, you've got your cover made. You've got your 2 pockets made, and you can go ahead and design them. So you're going to take your designer series paper, the Cauldron Bubble. And I want to show you also, this is the Cauldron Bubble stamp set that I cut, but there's the Toil and Trouble is the designer series paper, and then the Cauldron Bubble stamp set is the stamp set. So you could stamp these items on and then color them with, we have what's called blends, Stampin' Blends, and you could color in these stamps. But I preferred just to make my life easy this time and use the designer series paper, which is called Toil and Trouble. And let me show you that. This is such fun paper. And actually, I can show you only what I'm using. I think because it doesn't actually open up until tomorrow. But this is the paper that I cut out. You can see where I cut out the witches. So you have a choice. You can choose different kinds of witches. Now for this one, I hope it's not too violent, but for this one, I actually have the frog. You can look at it either way. Is she putting him in, or is the frog jumping out of the cauldron? I didn't do that with this one. And I like to think that the frog is jumping out, and that's why the cat is there like, yes, go froggy, go. So let me show you those pieces. So I actually cut out the frog too, because this is the fun thing. Okay, on the piece with the witches, it was nice because, I mean, you can and I used my snips just to cut around those. I also am getting the framelit dies because that way I can use my Big Shot machine. And then here's the image with the cat, the frog, and the cauldron. But on the back of each paper, there's also a design, okay? And that's where I got the frogs. They are so cute. Look at all those frogs. That's on the back of the witches. I tell you what, and look at the ghosts. I was between using the ghosts as that side paper or the cats, but I went with the orange and black cats for that designer series paper on the side. These guys for that strip on the front cover. So I just cut everything out, and then again I used a frog here as well. Okay, I did my 1 3/4 punch. I did a die cut. I cut out the witch's hat on this one. Okay, and again, you have many choices of witch's hats. You can see where I have holes there and cut them. And just put that on the pocket. Now you might say, okay, well, great, you've got that pocket. How do you put that on there? What you're going to do is I like to use tear and tape again, but you can use the glue. And if you do use the tear and tape, you got to be a little bit careful because your you're putting tape in here and then you're sticking this on and you've got to burnish it. So let's do one of each. Okay, we'll use tear and tape on this one, okay? So I take where my hinge is and I put the tear and tape. I'm going to turn this light on so I hope that you all can see and that it's not too glary. I line it up. And again, the ease of this because you just tear. So tear and tape again is product number 135 something something. I'll post it on the notes. And thanks for bearing with me, guys, because I am getting used to all the technology. I love technology, but I put in captions and subtitles, and then I'm like, wait, where did they go? And then I have to put them in again. Thank goodness I'm a fast typist, so it doesn't bother me too much. Okay, so this is great. Now I'm just going to tear off the extra strip. You notice that I burnished this on first because it makes the tearing off so much easier. If I didn't, I might be trying to tear off that little, this is like little wax paper. I might be tearing off that little wax paper and the whole thing would be off. I'm going to take my pocket, okay, because I've already made the nook and I need to show you that. And I'm just going to slip it over that hinge, I guess we'll call it. Okay, now I'm going to burnish. Okay, look, see, I've got a little bit of a, that's the thing. Tear and tape is so strong. Like if I didn't get it all the way on, it's going to be like that. That's fine. I'm going to burnish this again because I really want that to stick. I don't want somebody, could you put a half of a Tangy Taffy, like a flat candy in there, some gum? You could, couldn't you? Okay, so that's how you would do it with the tear and tape. Now let's do it with the Tombow glue, which is a Stampin' Up! Item as well. Tombow glue, you're just going to attach it like we did. And this is, I tell you what, this glue, a little bit, but see, I use too much. I am like the queen of using too much glue. And then I end up either using like baby wipes to get it off. What I'm going to do with this one is, I'm just going to use my finger. I'm going to smear it. This is kind of the fun of crafting, right? Is I can get messy and I have an excuse. And then I'm going to put it on the inside of this too. Because remember, they're not gonna touch until I've actually adhered it to the pocket. And then I'll put a little bit here. Now, what I like about the glue is it gives me a little more play time. I can put this on. Now, the band, I want to make sure that where I glued the band goes in the back, but it wouldn't really matter because I could slip it off and slip it back on. And then again, I go over. Now, I've got play time with the glue, so I can make sure that's really up against the edge. And what do we say? If you're not getting messy, then you're not crafting, you're not having enough fun. I don't know if that's what Da Vinci said when he was doing all of his things, but I'm going to say yes. Okay, and then see, I can see that glue, so I'm really going to push that in there. I want it to stick. So, okay. Excuse my sound effects. I'm kind of known for my sound effects. All right, so I've got my two pockets now. So cute. Okay, and that's, you could let that dry while you go ahead and cut your next piece of white paper, which is again the Whisper White. This is the same size. It's just that there's no cuts in this inside page. So again, that's going to be the 5 1/4 by 3 1/2. Okay. Then, how did I get these little guys? Well, I took, again, and Stampin' Up! Makes new ones, but I took my old Stampin' Up! Oval cutters. I'm going to show you those. I could have also done this with the stitched framelit dies that we're going to talk about in 1 second. But what I did is I took my paper. At first, I stamped my sentiment, Happy Halloween, on here. And that is done with the Grapefruit Grove color. I may not be able to find that stamp right this second because I'm looking for it. And of course, when you're looking for something, it just seems to be gone. But it's the Happy Halloween stamp. And I used the Grapefruit Grove. I first stamped it on a piece of the white paper, and then I went around it with this oval punch. Oops, this is the smaller one. Okay. And then for the background, and this is the other really fun thing about Stampin' Up, is when you buy the designer series paper, on that same page, they also have the Toil and Trouble cardstock pack. So I can be sure that all these colors match the colors in the designer series paper. So, you know, I decided, oh, I'm going to stick with purple on this one because I used green on that other card. So you buy this cardstock pack. This is 147763. Again, you can start buying this tomorrow. But it has the colors that you need, the purple, the green, for this card. And when I say the catalog, this is the catalog that you can order from beginning tomorrow. So Stampin' Up has an annual catalog, and then they also have what they call different occasions catalogs. This is the holiday catalog or an occasion catalog. And I can't show you the inside, but the items that I'm mentioning are inside this catalog. If you need a catalog, email me, leave me a comment. I will send you one, or go to my website, www.stampinwithdiane.stampinup.net. Okay. And you can order there. You can send me messages. I don't know if that was better or worse. Okay, so let's move on here. So basically all this is white paper again. You see the orange here on the edges? I went along the edges of my paper and just took my sponge dauber, and it just leaves a nice effect. I do it sometimes for different things, but with the orange, I did. Oops, don't look at that page. I did orange on the inside. On the outside ones, I actually did black. Oh, black. There it is. Yay. Oops, I have to keep mine in order. Oh, that was right. Okay. Here. Okay. And that's all you do. And that gives you that cute effect too. So there's always just little details you can add. And then you're like, wait, should I leave the ribbon? Should I not leave the ribbon? And then these pieces are cut out, and I adhered this with dimensionals. Okay, so that's this card. Okay, that's the hinge is the most important part. The rest you can read. This one I actually used a paper that we got in our paper pumpkin last year, and again, paper pumpkin. If you want to order for your October paper pumpkin, it will be spooky, but spooky fun. All right, let's talk about the next card really fast, which is the this one. Okay, so it just pokes on through. You can do so many different things with this, and I'm probably going to do a holiday version of this as well, like a Christmas. But okay, for this one, I used the same Cauldron Bubble stamp set for the Bubble Bubble Toil and Trouble. I used the Whisper White ink. Okay, Whisper White, also known as Tinta de Pigmento in Spanish, and I don't know how to really read French, but Weiss is German. So, and then I used the back of the designer series paper. Okay, let me give you the dimensions on this. The back side of this is the green and white dots, which is what I use. The dimension of that is 2 inches by 5 1/4. So it's 2 inches wide. Okay, this is the green and white. 2 inches wide, 5 1/4 inch tall. Okay, and you want to just cut that. Don't do anything with this cut out yet. I'm going to show you how I did that. Your base stock on this one, it's a vertical. It's not horizontal. And that one is, goodness, I'm just going to open this because it's 11, obviously, and you're going to just score it right down the middle. 11, so you're going to score it at 5 1/2. Oh, I did math. Wow. And the width is 4 1/4. Okay. So this piece, 2 inches by 5 1/4. Okay. And just leave that straight because eventually we're going to use this sheet. Your inside piece, see now what I did with this one, I didn't put it all together so you can see this. Your inside piece, because I don't know if I want that moon there either. Your inside piece is 5¼ inches tall by 3½ inches wide. So what you're going to do, okay, and then we have our stitched framelits, and that is done. Let me demonstrate for you with the Stampin' Up! Big Shot, and I use the stitched shaped framelit dies. It's product number 145372. It's on page 220 of our annual catalog. And if you need one of those, let me know. That's the annual catalog. And this, the largest that it goes one size larger than this. But if you can see, it has these cute little stitchings on the end, on the edges there. And so I have found it. Thank you to my upline gal who she said, you know, this is just a really good buy because you'll use them a lot. And sure enough, I have used these a lot because they just give it that nice sense of detail. If you can see it on the actual card there, just around the edges. So what I did is I used my bat punch, which is it's product 148014, with the bat paper. That is the designer series paper. And so all I had to do was just line it up, and I punch, and I get my bats. And I can do that. Now I don't have to use the bat paper. On the one I used the back of another sheet, so it was stars. You can see I've already punched those out here, so I can't really there. So I just put it in, punch it out, I get my bats. Okay, and that's what we use for coming through the page. Okay, so I've got my card, again, 11 inches long by 4¼ inch. 11 inches long by 4¼ inches high. I'm going to score it at 5½ inches. Okay, so let's do that. I always love it when it's like, oh, it's right down the middle. That's easy. So I'll put it here. I Stampin' Up! Score. Again, I don't want to use the darker one, but I just score it. Okay. Of course, I cut it. And then I'm going to burnish that as well. And see, I've made a bunch of these little pocket pages and pockets. That's a fun thing to do when you're like watching golf with your husband or something, or significant other, or just with you, because you can do that while you're watching a movie. Okay, so I have that page. Then you could, if you want to, you could put a designer series paper behind that if you'd like. I didn't because it was getting to be too busy. But like on this one with the accented blooms, we used the designer series paper, and then we used a plain piece behind it, and then the card. You could do that. Okay, I did not do that on this one because I like the black background. But I was playing with this one, and I was like, well, maybe I'll do that. But if you do that, that page would be just 1/4 inch in, so it'd be 4 inches by 5¼ and that would fit over here. Let's show you how you do this. And then you have this is washi tape, guys. Washi tape just helps you stick things without actually committing to it. But you take your pieces, and this piece is actually 1 inch. You punch 1 inch from the top of the paper and 1 7/8 inches from the side. Look, here's the thing. If you line them all up and do it together, let's do that. As long as they're all lined up, you're good. It's not, it doesn't have to be rocket science. Now, I used a punch, and again, for me, it's an older Stampin' Up! Punch, but they make these as well. And on our accented blooms, we actually used a newer punch that has these little sharp edges. I thought that was cool. Okay, so all you do is line it all up. Again, I don't want to line the back. Make sure you're not hitting the back of the card. You're just punching through these layers. Keep your piece because this is going to be the backdrop. Okay. So now I've got that all set, but you know what? I'm not going to attach it yet because if you want to put on twine or something, you need to attach that twine onto around your card before you put on this piece, okay? So just kind of get all your pieces ready. Then I used the stitch. I was like, oh, I like those colors, the green and the white. I cut out my little cauldron and then I took out my little die cut machine. Okay, this is the Big Shot. And I'm going to show you how we made those circles, the stitched framelit dies. Very simple. What I did with this one actually is I did several pages at a time. And that's kind of the beauty. I didn't go to the gym, so I got my workout with my Big Shot. So I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I like the Granny Apple Green. That may not be the actual name of it. And I like the purple. And then I always need some white ones. So I'm just going to I can do 3 at once, which is actually 6 because I'm using 2 different size framelits. Again, I have let me show this. So I put my platform on the bottom. And this is the other great thing. Stampin' Up! Always has lots of instructions because we like to stay up late at night stamping. So sometimes we need that. So I put that, and then I put one of my clear plates on the bottom, and then I put my paper. So it goes your big platform, your clear plate, your paper. Now again, remember, I'm pushing it because I'm using 3 pieces of paper. And then your framelit dies, I'm going to leave the small ones there. And then you've got to put your top clear on too. There's all different kinds of YouTube videos just on die cutting, just FYI. So there's different ways to do this. Some people, yeah, I'm not going to confuse you with that. Now I'm gonna stand up and do this, and I'm just going to run it through the machine. And I'm going to go back and forth this one because I have so many pieces of paper there. Okay, and then I just take them off. I've got my little white one. I've got my big white one. Oh, look, there's stuff on there, so I'll just use that side. I've got my big green one. Where'd the little green one go? Uh-oh, maybe he's stuck to yep, there he is. Hold on. Hey, I feel cheated out of my little green one somewhere. And then, ooh, look, it didn't come through the third paper. I knew I was pushing it. Usually I just do 2. So I'll have to go through that again with the third one. I was really pushing it, guys, with that. The nice thing is I can see where the pieces are and just go ahead and take that off. And just go ahead and do it again. So here we go. Push it through. You're getting a double demo, so that's good. I don't really have to do it twice this way because it's only 1 piece of paper. But that would be easier for the camera. And that is it. Now so I have choices. If I'm, making a bunch and I decide, you know what, I want to change it up a little bit, I can do that. So that is the Big Shot. And again, when you order and become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you can get this item as your $125 item, which you get free when you sign up for the $99 demonstrator kit. And you get all kinds of things with that. Now, I'm not going to be able to find my Bubble Bubble Toil and Trouble stamp, but I did have this one that I was going to show you because if you do become a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you will get a free acrylic block like this for your stamp. This is cute. I used it as a background for some of my moons and different things. But let me just show you how you use these backgrounds. It's, you just put them on, And then okay, so let's say I wanted to have orange on the back of this. And then you just stamp and it just gives you a nice little background. And sometimes I'll just leave it like light and dark. And then you put your cauldron on there or whatever item you want to put on there, and it's just a nice little background for you. Or if you're going to put, oh, I don't think it would look so good if you did. No, you could. But so pretty much with all of the stamp sets, you get something like that where it's just a design for the background. Okay, so there we are. All you do is you take that piece when you punched. Remember I said save that extra piece? That's going to go here. Now you have a choice. You can put your white paper here. And you can do that first and then just glue your little piece on top of that. I don't know. I have fun just slipping it in there. So I'm like, I'll punch it one more time. And then that's your inside, and you can put whatever sentiment you want. When you mail this, you just make sure that these would be easy because they're flat. The butterfly will be a little more interesting. You have to fold it over one way because you can't leave it like this. It's too big for the envelope. And there it is. So again, if you are watching this, if you like what you see, and if you would like a catalog, please visit my website, www.stampinup.stampinup.net. And if you subscribe to my channel, I am doing a giveaway where I'm giving away 3 birthday cards. It's this one, and this one. So 2 lucky people will get these 3 birthday cards, and it does have a sentiment on the inside. Oh, why don't I hold that the right way? There you go. It does have a sentiment on the inside. Happy birthday, here's to celebrating you. Birthday cheers all around. Here's to celebrating you. And today blooms just for you. Birthday cheers all around. So subscribe to my channel. Email with me with any questions. Go to my website. Love to talk to all my different, there's so many fun people all around the world, and I could even try my Espanol. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Ich bin Deutsch lernen für 1 Jahre. And hablo un poquito español. Estudié en Mexico City para 2 meses, pero hasta muchos años. So if you do have questions in those languages, I would love to talk to you too. And thanks for watching. I know you're busy. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend.